Well, my project today is this lovely painting, or a lovely photograph I should say, of a nocturne, I guess it's a nighttime scene here, in St Ives, down in Cornwall. And I've been doing a couple of nocturnes recently. Did a couple in Jersey in watercolour and oil. But I thought I would have stretch myself a little bit and challenge myself. So I do this scene. It's down in St Ives, in the right in the southwest of the UK in Cornwall. Got this dark sky, bluey tone to it. But the striking thing of this, of course, is the bright lights from these floodlit properties here, quite bright here, white, but different pinks and little shades, earthy colours. But I've got to get some warmth as well. You can see the floodlight here, the street light is coming through here, casting this bright light. So we've got this shadow, we've got lights in the windows and some reflections in the water. Can you see that? Put that up there. Is it focusing? Camera's making a big deal of this, I think. Why is that? Let's focus there. Yes, and they've got these red boats and the sea generally, and we've got some lights on the horizon as well, just over here, sparkling away. So what I've done is sketched it out, just a pencil sketch. Just to get me started. So I think I'll get right in and block in some of the main things. I've got a whole range of colours, my usual mixture of titanium white, cadmium red, cadmium yellow, lemon yellow, bit of magenta, got some burnt umber and some viridian green and umber and ultramarine, of course, for my sky. But let's get something to help me map out my main areas. So as I say, this is a fairly, well, reasonably accurate, not absolutely photo accurate, but so just get the outline of these buildings. It's a very complicated scene actually. You have to simplify somewhat, I think. You never get all of it in, but I want to get some of these interesting shapes. And as you can see, they are complex areas really. The different shapes of the rooftops, sort of vernacular really. Just been altered over the years to suit the lifestyle and the circumstances of people. So yes, let me think. So I've got, as you can see, I've got the main areas here. It's odd shaped roofs, shapes, old fishing village, of course, fishing town. So this, you know, mapping out a little bit of umber here will help you see the main form it's going to take. But then we'll get in blocking more appropriate colours here. So So just get the map, I think. We should do that. I'm painting on a bit of plywood as well. I've started doing that recently. Rather than canvas. So I can buy sheets of ply, 3.6 millimeter, something like that, from my local B&Q, big hardware chain in the UK here. Got windows here. I've primed it, I must tell you, with acrylic primer, sort of undercoat white paint, really, just to seal it, because you don't want it to get water over it in the future, and it will probably warp then. But I've been painting for a few years on it now, and as long as you prime it, just all sides and the edges, you must do the edges as well. Basically you're keeping the moisture out, otherwise it might be prone to twisting. So anyway, there we have a rough layout there, and this is the water here, and I've got some maps, some boats in. So where should we start? Perhaps we ought to get to our darkest darks in. So let's should I do the sky again? Let's get rid of all this bright white board. So I think we need to get that killed off a little bit. Seems to throw your eye, all this. So I'm going to use a little bit of ultramarine, quite a bit of ultramarine, but with some umber as well, keeping it fairly thin paint. It's quite slick actually, quite slippery, because it's not particularly rough. I did give it a little bit of a sand, but not very rough really. Let's just see how it goes. This is very, very slippery. Yes, I think this piece of ply I'm painting on is, I think, about 10 by 12 inches. Let's get some linseed, make it smoother off the brush a bit better maybe. I think this, as it goes a bit tackier, I can put different layers, alter the colour. It's not dead jet black. I want to have a bluish sheen to it. There's a gap here between the buildings looking out beyond the town there to the sea. Getting there. We can cut in later with a smaller brush if you want to be really put some interesting roof line, keep it very accurate. You could do that. At the moment I'm just going to kill off the white of the sea right now. All this board, I could have primed it actually with a tone. I should say toned it. I often do with sienna, but didn't today. Right. Okay, we can just leave this for a moment. Bring it down a bit there. Right. Now, the next, we need to block in some of these buildings, don't we? So let's get a little bit of sienna and a bit of ochre, I think. I don't want too dark. I have to have some contrasts with these other darker areas. So we've got quite a feature there. It's a big piece of the roof comes there. This interesting line. Right, another one here. I've got to get contrasts, slightly different tones with these roofs, because they're all getting different amounts of light, so they'll look closer or more distant, depending on that. And that's an important feature of this. And then we've got up here, these are some darker forms I can see come down from the sky there, in between these dormers. I've got to bring that down. I'm painting fairly thinly, which helps if you want to lay things over later in a slightly different tone, or put in some windows, because it's a bit difficult sometimes to lay paint over another thick layer of oil paint. Can find that a bit of a problem. Bring the darker down there. Let's get that. Between that building there. And let me think where else we've got lots of different areas of dark. Little faces of the walls and the buildings. So I've got to try and show that. Some shapes. And we've got along here. Let's put some ochre in some of these areas. Make it show a little bit warmer, although it's catching a bit of light. Some of them did. And using a bit of Naples yellow there, a bit of ochre mixed. Just help me get some tonal variation here. Colour in these down somewhat here too. You need to make this a bit darker here. This bit of the water. A little bit of colour. I'm constantly looking at just patterns, really, shadow patterns at this stage. Still, it's quite a long process, really. You have to be a little patient with it. I think I could put a little bit of a roof form there. And this got to get some colour in there shortly. And these windows and these boats got an awful lot to do, really. So you've got to give appropriate bit of time to it. I like to work at alla prima, all in one session, but I don't think it's always possible. If you've got a complex thing, you want to take a little bit of time sometimes over that. I notice here, blacken that out and cut back a bit there and lighten up that bit of that roof there, so I've got some contrast with everything that's behind and here. Right, now let's get back and think of something for that window, for that front of that building. So I don't want it bright white, but I think I'll put a bit of blue with it. So I'll clean off my brush, get some just slightly off white, with a tiny hint, maybe some Payne's grey. Yes, I think we can do that. That will do it. Yes, that's giving us some, I think it was the colour I want. Payne's grey again. You want to always try and get variety. Top of that wall there. See, we've got to get some windows in, some doors. Let's just have a quick stab at some of them. Get some umber there. Right, let's try a couple of windows. There's one here. So I'm just going to stroke them in very gently. I think I need a smaller brush actually. I'm just want to stay with a big brush as long as you can. Makes for a better painting, apparently. But if you're doing a small area, then you need a small brush. Let's just raise that roof a bit. I need to do, I think. Block that out. Well, I think I'm going to leave it for a moment and then come back a little bit down the road. Or in there or not. That's the question. You can have artistic license. You can add and subtract at your will. I think I need some darks at the foot of that seawall there. Need to add some texture to it so it reads, but to ground it, if I put a dark line on there, the shadow area. Let's stand back a little bit. And also that was a dark passage through there. You can see I want that nice and dark in there. It's coming together. Get a bit more dark in this sky, perhaps. Well, I'm back again, continuing with this painting of St. Ives, and you can see I've done quite a lot of the buildings, roughed out the shapes anyway. I'm going to be tightening up a lot more on detail, but I've blocked it in and I can see a little bit more of what I'm trying to do. So the next thing is I've got a couple of boats here. I've got one here, one here, one here. I've got another one here. And I could put a little dinghy or something here. So I've got to get some nice paint and the right brush. Let me think. I'm struggling a little bit. I think I need to get some finer brushes. I'll go with this little filbert for the moment to get some shape from the boat. So let's get some titanium. Get a nice amount, I think. I think I have a little bit of linseed as well to get me a nice little flow. Which I'm painting on a tile that I picked up the other day, a sample tile, just £2 from my local store. So it's a lot easier to clean than a wooden palette. Glass is good, of course, but I could pick this up pretty easy from the local store. So let's get the shape right. Something like that. Right, let's get a bit more on this boat. On the bottom there. Right. I need to sharpen this, but I'll cut back in there with a bit of the sea colour, but let's get a nice bit of white paint there. A speedboat there, and I've also got a little rowboat here. Interior area there. Yes, I've got to put the mast in, of course we haven't done that yet. So let's get something going. Get some linseed to make it flow a little bit better. Yes, it's got to come about here, I think. Yes, help us. Yes, this one's got one to the front as well. Just notice that. I've got one here. going to put some fenders on as well. Got a little box here. Notice that, I don't know what that is, a little white box. Another boot there actually. Little tender. That's a sea wall there actually. I need to make that read a little bit better. We've certainly got that reflection in that water from those lights there. Scoot a little bit out here. Now maybe I should put some little marks on that. Help define the line a little bit. Right. How's that looking? There's lots of little details still I need to sharpen up, I think, on that roof line there. Improve these windows, I think. Well, it's not so good, that one, so you can put another one in. Something dark there. Just trying to look at the masses really. Yes, now we've got the light coming through a bit there. And also this dark area there. helps define the sort of contour of this wall actually. I think that's a bit of a wall there. Yes, that's come down to the beach area there. Yes, I can see now, starting to read a little bit better. Using that Payne's grey, a flat brush here. Don't necessarily have to do them all in the same direction actually. Surprisingly, like you do on the sea, you can do vertical. Or horizontal there. I think I need to darken up that bit of sea though. It's looking just a little bit too blue there. What I've got to do actually is put the odd dot of yellow light in there. Red, I've got some red. Put a bit of yellow in there. Across the bay there. Keep our horizon line. Now, let's see if I want a tiny brush. Oh yes, here's one. You can do that. Put a bit of yellow from the distance there. I've got lemon yellow, or maybe I should go a bit of cadmium. No. Yes, there's a little bit of light there. Well, there we have the finished painting of this nocturne in St Ives in Cornwall. I've done a little work on the boats and a little bit of work on windows and details. Or I've put some greenery here. I've got green over this wall here. Also I need to establish that edge there. But I've tried to keep the light here coming on this window. Is quite glaring, and varied different colours, a bit of warm light there, warm light here, and the boats and the sea is also darken that up a little bit, just little touches here and there. As I said, I might do some more work on it, take my time over several days. I'll let it stand for a few days and, you know, look at it with fresh eyes. So that might be my next thing. But if you like it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It will help the channel grow a little bit, and also give me some feedback as well as any thoughts you may have. Anyway, thanks for watching.